Let's start with Algore breaking some pretty amazing news yesterday on Fox. Listen to this.
In 2006, you made the following comments as part of your publicity for the movie. You said, unless we took, quote, drastic measures, the world would reach a point of no return within 10 years, and you called it a true planetary emergency. We're 11 years later.
Yeah.
Weren't you wrong?
Well, we have seen a decline in emissions for the on a global basis. For the first time, they've stabilized and started to decline. So
Stop for a second.
He always changes the parameters there because the question was, you said we had to take drastic measures. Now, everybody knows drastic measures have not been taken. They've not been taken.
Well, here's the deal.
And we're still not in a crisis.
He is using the 2008 financial crisis and the global recession that we have been in as a good thing.
That's true.
That is the best proven way to reduce emissions is economic catastrophe.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It happened in the Soviet Union.
Those were not drastic measures.
No, it wasn't.
The economic downturn did not cause drastic changes.
But it's also not the way carbon emissions work. You don't stop, driving your car and then tomorrow the Earth is like, I can breathe free.
Yeah, it could be up. It's usually around
he would admit that, right?
Of course, it's up to 200 years.
Yeah.
Between 80 and 200 years usually for CO2 to dissipate out of the atmosphere.
So if we stopped it all, it would still take a minimum of 80 years.
If you stopped all cars,
it would still take a minimum of 80 years for that to impact the Earth.
Right, so that's got nothing to do with and by the way, leveling off because of largely a financial crisis and some other factors. But still, this is not like some incredible
No, it's a leveling off.
Nothing drastic.
So he's
happened.
saying that we're not seeing the results that he predicted in the movie. Because we've had a leveling off, which he said only drastic measures happening today would be able to stop them.
the responses of the last 10 years have helped. Unfortunately and regrettably, a lot of serious damage has been done. Greenland, for example, is losing 1 cubic kilometer of ice every single day. I went down to Miami and saw fish from the ocean swimming in the streets on a sunny day. The same thing was true in Honolulu.
Wait.
In Honolulu, I missed that the first time. It's Miami and Honolulu, where fish are swimming in the streets on sunny days.
Fish.
That is heart-wrenching.
Now, how did the news media miss this?
I don't know.
As you were driving your car in Miami, I want to hear from you now. Are you seeing the fish swimming in the street next to you on a sunny day?
And why are Americans in Miami hiding that?
They're hiding it.
Why won't they tell America?
Are they all working for Halliburton?
Of course they are. Of course they are. They must all be on the payroll.
I mean, how many people?
Fish are swimming in the streets.
How many global
on
warming,
sunny days?
How many global warming supporters, people who say, I support Al Gore, how many of them had to die to cover up the video footage?
Too many.
Of the fish swimming in the streets of Honolulu and Miami.
Got to be video footage, right?
Got to be.
Apparently, this is
Wouldn't
not
you take out your cell phone if that was happening here in Dallas?
Wait a minute. If I had coverage,
I would get my camera out and shoot that.
Of course, fish, as you may know, live in water.
Yes.
Occasionally when it floods in various areas, there are fish that could be theoretically on a street.
Not on a sunny
However,
day,
the Miami
for the love of heaven, Stu.
But the Miami thing is an interesting addition. This was actually something Barack Obama was talked about as well. He says, I think, this is in 2015, I think as the science around climate change is more accepted, as people start realizing that even today you can put a price on the damage that climate change is doing. You go down to Miami, and when it's flooding at high tide on a sunny day, and fish are swimming through the middle of the streets, there's a cost to that.
How much does it cost?
I know.
How much does that cost?
Well, there's a fish toll to cross the street. Each trout has to pay
on
35
land,
cents.
I think that is, yes.
And here's the problem. Fish don't have pockets.
No,
they have no place.
No. Right.
No, so they
If
carry
they don't
the
have a
coins in
toll
their
tag,
mouth.
yeah. They don't have a toll tag where they get the sun pass, where they can just boop.
This is unbelievable. Do we have Miami residents who are willing to fess up to this cover
To
up?
the fish.
To the fish.
Now, there's a
cover
difference
up?
between when there's a storm, when there's a hurricane, when there's a flood, and Just the other day, I saw fish swimming in the streets on a sunny day.
Same thing.
I know, not to him.
By the way, the title of the story I read that quote from, "Do fish really swim in Miami streets?" Well, not exactly. And it's the Miami Herald, by the way.
So he's still, when did that come out?
2015, and Gore was also talking about it in 2015.
And he's still talking about it over
So
the
this is still one of his lead arguments. The other one being that he called the flood in New York City.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Because in the movie...
Well, that was a prediction come true.
It is one of the most disingenuous...
It's a lie.
I mean, it's a straight-out lie. But
it's a straight-out lie.
The levels this man has to go to accomplish this lie is fascinating. Because he said, in the movie, Inconvenient Truth, he shows the World Trade Center memorial site being flooded. And he's like, this is what would happen.
And if Greenland were to melt...
Right. Well, this is the point. Because he starts with that. And then his new pitch is, see, I told you the World Trade Center could flood, and it happened way before I said. That's his new pitch for the sequel of Inconvenient Truth.
According to some of the research from Dr. Maslowski, in some months.
I was actually reading something that quoted a Dr. Maslowski. And I'm like, shut up, it can't be the same guy. It's not. There's another Dr. Maslowski.
That's a long-time Algore quote if you're a long-time listener. So he says this. First of all, what he predicted was not a temporary 2-day flood from Sandy, which is he's trying to take credit for now.
It's if Greenland melted.
He predicted a permanent flood of these areas, and a permanent flood caused by the entire melting of the Greenland ice shelf. So there's no ice in Greenland at all anymore. Okay, it all melts, falls into the sea. Sea level rises 20 feet, and then these areas are flooded like this. He's taking credit as if that prediction was right. Now, what's amazing about it is he plays a clip from the movie to explain how right he is. Legitimately, the sentence, it's either the sentence before or the sentence after it, explains that what he is saying is not true. It talks about how Greenland would have to melt, or half of West Antarctica would have to melt, and half of Greenland for this to happen, which we know has not happened, as he just explained in that clip, where he said it's, what is it, 1 cubic kilometer or whatever
it is. Yeah,
which is also, not all, right?
Which is also kind of picking and choosing his stats.
Yes, he is definitely
because it's growing in some areas. The ice is growing in some areas and melting in others. That's what happens. It happened in the 30s, happened in the 50s. When it warms up on the planet, Iceland or Greenland melts a little bit, and then and in some other places it actually increases its ice mass. So he's always doing this, picking and choosing his numbers and changing the parameters of things.
I'm just so glad that we're not like that we'll admit that we're wrong when we're wrong. And
he will not. He's got too much invested in this.
Yeah, I know, but you're going to end up, I mean, do people not care about how you're remembered? I mean,
no, because the media helps him with how they're remembered. Look at how celebrated this guy is. He's nothing but a charlatan and a liar. But the media, how's the media going to be remembered? I mean, I just think everything is going to come undone with all of this stuff. Lies only stand for so long. The truth eventually comes out. It may not be in the next 5 years or even 20 years, but eventually everybody makes fun of Al Gore. At some point, Al Gore's children to great-grandchildren are sitting in class going, oh, geez, they're not bringing up my stupid great-grandfather.
I'm less and less confident of that fact every day.
Look at how Woodrow Wilson is remembered.
And start to turn around.
Right.
So that's positive.
It's taken 100 years, but he was the president of the United States.
Yeah, but he's been dead for 100 years. He doesn't care what's happening to him now. I mean, he may have cared at the time.
Should have been the president of the United States, I'll tell you that.
What'd you say?
Al Gore should have been the president. Tell you that.
Shut up.
Yeah.
That robbed.
But think of how, again, on Gore, because I'm glad you brought this back. Think of how disingenuous this is. He is taking out all of the context of why he said New York would flood, along with tons of other areas around the world that didn't flood in this period. And he's taking credit for that claim. It's impossible.
Because of one storm that lasted 2 or 3 days.
Right, and it was gone and everything's fine.
Gone, yeah. Remember that CCR song?
No.
Have you ever, I want to know, have you ever seen the fish swimming through the streets on a sunny day?
No,
Remember
I haven't.
Great
but
song.
Dan in Ohio says that he has seen the fish.
Oh,
so
boy.
You're in Ohio. How did you see this, Dan?
Well, I saw it, and the first thing I thought of, and I'm actually really nervous about it, is that Alex Jones is right. The fish people have escaped their cases.
Oh my God!
Oh my
God!
In the streets in Miami.
Oh my gosh, it's happening! It's happening!
It's happening. The fish people have escaped their cases. In case you don't know, could you just cue it up to that place in the Megyn Kelly promo? In fact, let's just play the whole promo. This, in case you don't know what he's talking about, Alex Jones is going to be on with Megyn Kelly on NBC next Sunday, and it's pretty darn explosive. Listen.
His authoritarianism knows humanity's awakening, and it's moving against humanity on a planetary scale. The great global battle for the future of our species is being fought right now.
They call you the most paranoid man in America. Is that true?
Absolutely not. A paranoid person will be hiding out in their house, not venturing out in public. I go out there on the...
It's actually not the dictionary definition of paranoid.
Battle, Black Lives Matter, the communists, point-blank range.
We talked controversies and conspiracies. 9/11.
Now, 9/11 was an inside job, but when I say inside job, it means criminal elements in our government working with Saudi Arabia and others wanted to frame Iraq for it. Just a fact.
Sandy Hook.
It's a fact. Well, Sandy Hook's complex because I've had debates where we've devil's advocates said the whole story's true, and then I've had debates where I've said that none of it's true.
When you say parents faked their children's death, people get very angry.
Yeah, well, I know, but they don't get angry about the 500,000 dead Iraqis from the sanctions, or they don't get angry about all the illegals.
That's a dodge.
No, it's not a dodge. The media never covers all the evil wars it's promoted. All the
that
big
doesn't
things.
excuse what you did and said about Newtown. You know it.
Here's the difference. I looked at all the angles of Newtown, and I made my statements long before the media even picked up on it. We didn't get any of the really important stuff.
What do you mean? We talked about all the important stuff.
Well, here's the big one they always make fun of me. You probably want to throw this in there. 30 years ago,
of course,
they began creating animal-human hybrids.
Right.
Isn't that the big story Megyn Kelly should be doing?
Yes.
Yes,
yes it is.
30 years ago.
Good for you. She is doing that story. The human hybrid. So there you have it. A listener in Ohio has seen the human-fish hybrids.
They've now escaped
and swimming on the streets. John will bring us back to Miami, and Algore's claim that fish, he has seen them swimming down the streets on a sunny day. Go ahead, John.
I was born on Miami Beach. I've been here 60 years, my whole entire life.
Yeah.
We have a king tide every year in October, and the streets flood all on Miami Beach, all over the coast of the Miami side of the intercoastal. It's been going on forever, and we're built on swampland.
Yeah.
The swampland is what's sinking, not the water rising.
Wow.
It's amazing, and that's
great.
We were looking into this a little bit in the break, and that's exactly what the fact checkers say.
It's high tide.
You know, when they say...
But John can only confirm that for 60 years.
60 years. It's called king tides, when the tides are at their highest, not during average daily tides. Also not in Miami proper, only in the low coastal outlying areas. So, like, again, every element of that is just, it's very similar to what Alex Jones did with the human hybrids. There were experiments. We did this on Pat and Stu a few weeks ago. I can't remember when people were talking about this. Like, there was a set of experiments a while ago where they tried to, like, look at this, and I guess...
I think the aim was to try to grow...
Like a human heart?
A human heart or something that you could replace body parts with in an animal, and it didn't work out.
Right.
And they stopped.
Yeah, I mean, but it's funny in that, like, a very tiny shred of truth to make this dramatic claim to get your theology, I'll put it that way, a theology through. Whatever religion you have with Algore, it's climate with him, with its conspiracy theories with Alex Jones. But I mean, those are the same people saying they're doing the same exact thing with the issue that they love. It's pretty amazing.
Why are you covering up your pig heart? Why is it you're covering up your half human, half pig heart?